Hey, what's going on, family? It's your favorite uncle, cousin Tyrone Gregory, the self-employed tax guy. And today, I want to share with you a video that necessarily wasn't made for my channel, but it is very important because it deals with those who are transitioning from adolescence to being an actual adult. And this video came about because my niece, very intelligent young lady, extremely proud of her, she came through and had a conversation with your uncle, right? And she has just graduated high school, entering college, starting to work full time, getting ready to be an actual adult. So she wanted to ensure that her financial future is securely set up. So, of course, we turned on the video camera, sat down, and we chopped it up for a good long while. And she's posting this video on her channel to share with her audience who are definitely adolescents transitioning into adulthood. So I asked her, if I could share with you guys just in case you knew anybody in that same scenario. And of course, she said okay because she loves her uncle. So here it is. We'll get to it right after this.
Hello. It's your girl, The Real AP. I'm here with my favorite uncle, self-employed tax guy. And today, we're going to be talking about taxes because, your girl walking into adulthood, and I don't know jack about taxes. I know government taking my money every check, but I don't know where is it going. Like, why you need my money? I work for my money. Why you need it? So, this is why we're here. I got a few questions. Hopefully, they can get answered.
We're going to answer them. That's going to be the goal for today. We're going to make this happen. Absolutely.
Alrighty. So the first question that I have is, what even is taxes? What's an income tax? Why is America built around taxes? Are we the only people who is forced to pay taxes? Like, what's the tea?
Well, no. Great question, by the way. No, but taxes has been around since the biblical days.
Okay.
Taxes help our infrastructure, right? Every time that we pay a tax, it goes to our government. They therefore take that funding and use it to help better our society, right? Like our taxes pay for our schools, right. They pay for our roads, our police departments, our fire departments, and things like that. Now, granted, government spending can be a little out of control, right? So we like, why am I paying taxes for this and that? But in the political correct term, that's what taxes is for. Yeah. So every time you see that money being taken out of your check, the main two, right? So let me kind of get into that. There's 3 taxes, or possibly 4, in the state of California. Depending on your state, everything is going to be different. But from a federal perspective, across the board, you're always going to see 3 taxes when you are employed. You're going to have the federal taken out, Social Security, and Medicare. Okay. Right? Those are the 3 main taxes from a federal perspective you always see taken out of your paycheck. Social Security is supposed to be there for when you retire. Right?
So like, for me.
Yeah, exactly. So you're paying into this fund. Okay. So at the point when you get to a certain age when you can no longer work, you'll have income coming in to still support you.
Okay.
That's what Social Security is for. Medicare is the same way. That carries, when you get to a certain age, you can no longer work. Obviously, your health starts to decline.
Right.
So therefore, now you have the income coming in to help you with your medical. Okay. That's what Medicare. Those are the main 2. The federal taxes, that's what we pay to support everything else. Yeah.
Like and is it like a guaranteed, for that's just random numbers, let's just say my paycheck and I don't know Mark Zuckerberg paycheck, and do my taxes that get taken, my little portion from my Medicare or my Social Security, is it a little bit smaller? Is it bigger? Is there any? Because what is the whole tea about? Oh, I'm rich, I don't want to pay this many taxes, or something about the rich and the taxes. It's some type of something I just don't understand why. The more money you get, the more privilege you have for taxes, or how do people even scam not paying their taxes? Like,
ooh, that's some loaded questions. How we gonna talk about that?
Right?
Wow.
Okay, start off with just the average and the wealthy when it comes to taxes. What is the main difference?
It really ain't no difference. Everybody pay taxes.
Okay.
Right? Like you'll hear a lot of people talk about the wealthy paying less taxes.
Right. Okay.
And that's because there are certain tax laws that do favor certain types of income.
Okay.
Now, if you look at a tax return, you'll see that there's like multiple different types of income. You have your regular income.
Okay.
Right? Then you have your interest and dividend income.
Okay.
You'll have your capital gain income, right? You'll have income from rents and royalties. You'll have income from business. You'll have retirement income. So there's all these different types of income. Mm-hmm. And certain types of income have favorable tax laws. Right. For example, capital gain. That's probably one of the most popular type of taxes that has the favorable tax, right? Mm-hmm. And a capital gain is a very simple concept. I'm going to tell you what it is. You bought this pencil. This is a pencil. I was going to say pen. Let's say you buy this pen for $10. Mm-hmm. You sell it for $100. Okay. How much money have you made?
90.
That's a capital gain. Right? Simple concept. That's right. Really all it is. The difference between what you pay for it and what you sold it for is considered. A lot of people
do that, though, right?
Exactly, exactly. But people hear taxes and they want to overcomplicate it. Right. But it's the simplest thing. So, but capital gains is taxed differently than when you go to work and make money. Okay. Capital gains, they say, well, if you have a capital gain, then that $90 will only tax at 10%. That's the max we'll tax it at. So the max dollars you'll pay on that $90 is, let's just say, $9. Versus if you made $90 as a W-2 employee working a regular job, you can be taxed up to 30%.
Okay. That makes a little bit more sense.
Right. So what I'm saying is like the different types of income get taxed differently. That's why, but a lot of wealthy individuals have a lot of capital gain. Okay. So they don't pay as much tax.
Businesses?
Right. Well, capital gains you can get from investments, from selling real estate, stocks. Right. Because again, it's a difference. If you buy a stock at $10 and you sell it for $10,000, that difference is a capital gain. Okay. And that's what a lot of the wealthy do.
And then they pay less.
And they pay less tax
because of that.
Because of that, exactly. Okay. So a lot of people get upset and they say, "Well, the wealthy should pay." And I'm like, I get it, but at the same time, don't be mad at them getting like that.
Yeah, it's not that hard to really, it's probably
buy and
your
sell.
Own bit.
Yeah, buy and sell. I try to tell folks, buy and sell. That's really the strategy.
Okay, so I think we kind of discussed it a little bit. But what is the different types of deductions from my check? Like I know I get, let's just say, like it will say like 36 something for gross, but then it says 1,000 taken off from this and 200 from this. And why are y'all taking my check? I need to know. Like they give me at least a good, like almost 2,000. It seemed like from taking out of my check. Like what?
Absolutely. So it depends on your employer. The main three things you're going to see taken out of your check, obviously, is the taxes. Okay. We know, like I said, Social Security and Medicare, that's always going to be there. There's nothing you can do to reduce the amount of Social Security and Medicare that's going to be taken out. That is going to be standard across the board. You're going to be taxed 6.2%, at least as of the recording of this video. 6.2% of your income is going to go towards Social Security, and 1.45% is going to go towards Medicare. That's nothing we can do about that. Okay. That's standard. Okay.
Is there any laws to change that?
Not yet.
Has there ever been like opportunity where we be like, let's go to
a couple of years ago, they gave us what they call a Social Security holiday, where we was able to, not we were able to, but our employers reduced the amount of Social Security taxes that they were taking out. Okay. Yeah, but that was some years ago. That was it. That was
not relevant now.
Yeah, that's gone now. Right. So then there is your retirement account. Right, so if you went into it and you set up like a 401k or a 403b, they're setting money aside. Now they call that pre-tax because that's being taken out of your income before it's taxed.
Okay.
Right. So that's pre-tax income, which is good because now you have this money sitting in an account that's making money for you that has not been taxed.
Right. Okay.
You know, so that's good. But don't get it twisted. When you take that money out, you're going to pay tax on it. But the idea is when you retire, you should be, or they expect you to be in a lower tax bracket, so you pay less tax. That's the idea.
Okay. Speaking of tax bracket, I'm hearing everybody on Instagram, you know, these influencers.
Oh, Lord, social media.
You're not even in my tax bracket, girl. Like, that's above my tax bracket. Like, what does that mean? Like, is the government after you more than after me? Like, what? I'm confused why your tax bracket is even.
I can see why they can use it as a form of social currency. Like your tax bracket is small.
Too low for me.
Right.
What does that mean? We all paying taxes?
We all paying taxes. But there's an old saying, and this is true, the more you make, the more they take. Right? So if you're in a small tax bracket, you ain't making enough.
Okay.
Because if you're in a 10% tax bracket, you're probably making and that's another thing. Social media gets things twisted because one thing about tax brackets is if we look at a tax return, what you bring home ain't necessarily what determines your tax bracket.
Okay.
Right? Because you start, like I said, we look at a tax return, and we'll probably bring this up so they can sit on the video. But if you look at a tax return, it's all your income.
Right.
Let's say all your income add up to $1 million.
Okay.
Right? But then you have deductions. You have things that you can subtract from that. And that's what then after you subtract it, we look at your adjusted gross income, right? Because we've adjusted it. We subtracted things out. And then we take the look at, okay, now we have the adjustments, and now we apply either your itemized deductions or your standard deductions.
Which is the difference?
Well, the standard deductions is what the government gives you off top.
Okay.
If you itemize, that means you're adding things up, like you have your home, your property taxes, things like that, right? So you do that to figure out which one is going to be higher. So that's an additional deduction. So when you start off with $1 million, you subtract off your adjustments, you subtract off your standard deduction or your itemized deductions, and what you're left with is called your taxable income because that's the amount that they're going to tax you on.
Okay.
Now, if your taxable income puts you in a 10% tax bracket, then you only pay 10% tax.
Okay.
But you made $1 million though.
Right.
So it's possible. Like people say Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world, he's 9%. So you can't sit up here and say his tax bracket is low enough. He make more money than you.
Right.
But because he know how to strategically plan his taxes out, he effectively pays low tax.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? But I get to the average person, your tax bracket is low. Because it makes sense. Like if you make 20, 30,000, it's possible, after everything is said and done, you in a 10% tax bracket.
Okay.
Right? But if you up to, $250,000, $500,000, then your tax bracket is maybe going to be 24 to 39.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. But if you in a high tax bracket and you're not strategizing right, then, that you don't want to be with that person anyway because they're wasting money.
Right. So when it comes to taxes and you look up, I look up, I don't know about y'all, but I look up, how much these celebrities is worth and stuff like that. And when they say, oh, money bag and this person, like it said, one of this popular influencer now, Ari, she's like worth $1 million, right? That's her net worth. But when it comes to net worth, do that have anything to do with they already took the taxes out of the network, or that's just everything they ever put their money into, that's what network is?
So there's two things that when it comes to taxes we have to understand, right? And I'm so glad that you're exposing the game on these cats right now too. This is dope from a young adult here. There is on paper and there's in pocket.
Right, of course.
On paper, people can be worth a lot of things. But that's different than what's in their pocket.
Walking away with. Okay.
What's in your pocket is what you pay tax on.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. So a lot of people out there, they worth.
Yeah.
And they worth that because if they were to liquidate everything they had, then that would then transform and translate to what's in their pocket.
Okay.
So while it's on paper, they not being taxed because they haven't taken possession of it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So until they take possession of it, they don't pay tax on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how is that just a business without being claimed? Like, what do you mean is if they don't touch it, if they don't claim it on their paper?
For example, right? Let's say you buy a house. Mm-hmm. The house is worth. You buy the house for $100,000.
Okay.
2 years later, the house is worth $700,000.
Okay.
Right. So you have $600,000 in equity.
Okay.
Right?
Keep it talking. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you own it, but you ain't paying tax on that $600,000 because you haven't cashed out.
Okay.
But you can say I'm worth $700,000,
or this house is worth, or what?
Well, because you own it, it's your worth.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
It's really the how they. I'm quite sure some people do have money like that, but them talking like, oh, you above my tax bracket, or that's above my pay grade, like. Girl, like the government still got you just like they got me. So, pipe down. You doing too much.
Absolutely.
What? Oh my goodness. So, just so we can review and reiterate all this whole thing, taxes. If you on a W-2, right? They're gonna take your check, and it's gonna be for Social Security, Medicare, and federal,
and state. Yeah, because we only mentioned the federal, but depending, certain states have taxes. California's one of them, right?
Yeah,
so when so if you look at your two things you could look at the end of the year, you want to look at your W-2.
Okay.
And your W-2 is going to show you how much you made.
Right.
In columns 1, 3, and 5, and then in columns 2, 4, and 6, is going to show you how much taxes you took out. Then if you look at the bottom of the W-2, it's going to show you your state taxes, how much California took.
Now, what do California want with me? I already got the feds on me. What do California want with me?
State specific. Like federal covers all 50 states.
So I'm paying for Alabama and Washington and all them other people?
I mean, yeah, technically, like I say, federal covers all 50 states, right? Our military, our military, like I said, our military, things that protect us across the nations, all of that.
Okay.
Right, yeah, so yeah.
So did I or did we, or was we going to pay for the border?
We were. It was coming. I mean, well, the way previous President Trump had it said, we weren't going to pay for it. He was going to make somebody else pay for it, but nothing is free.
Right.
Nothing is free.
Okay.
Absolutely nothing is free.
Okay. And people, like I hear people saying like, oh, I'm glad they raised the taxes because now we can get better this, we get better that. But how do we know? Okay, for example, my city that I'm living is technically in Los Angeles County, but they have their own little, I guess, police office or whatever. How do I know my roads are actually getting fixed? Like, do I have to call someone and say, hey, W-2 24567, I paid my taxes. Why is this roads not fixed? Like,
but you know what, man? Again, I'm amazed because that is good. And the reason you do that is you get involved with your local city councils because they are the ones who govern the money that's paid to them.
Okay.
Right. So if you see something that in your neighborhood and hey, I'm paying for this technically, right? When you pay your property taxes and there's trash on the street, you're paying for the waste management company to come out and do that, right? Like this, you're paying for these services through your taxes, and therefore, as a citizen, you have that right to go to your local government, your city, your mayor, your city council, and speak on it, because technically they work for you.
I mean, that's what you kind of did say in the beginning of the video, that we kind of the reason why we have taxes, it's kind of a foundation. Like, obviously we have to pay somebody. All these community servers, these bus drivers, policemen, people who pick up the trash. I didn't know how they was getting paid, but obviously I'm paying them. So when I get my trash not thrown out, then I'm paying. So get it together. Now what happens with like schools and courts and just, I guess, government buildings? How do we Are we somehow funding the schools as well?
Yeah.
So that's a part of
teachers. That's why when we vote on the certain propositions to increase funding for certain schools and things like that, that's what we vote on. Like every time we vote in an election, especially with our local elections or the propositions, that's like, okay, well, we propose we want to increase taxes because that the increase is going to fund this particular project or building, whatever, things like that. So we vote on that. So that's a lot of times if we vote on something, and that's why it's very important that we as individuals pay attention to who we put in office too, right? Because if they put a proposal out there and they say, yeah, we want to raise $1 billion and we're going to increase taxes by, 3 cents to do so, but then they never do what it is they raise the taxes on. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be careful of who we put in the office to manage our money.
So tax where I'm paying for everybody pretty much, and tax where I'm paying for an extra 5 cents with my soda can. What's the difference? Like, why am I paying? Why when I buy a shoe that's $150 and I'm walking out with $186? Why?
That's sales tax. That's different.
So there's different taxes?
Oh my goodness, there is a lot of different taxes. Yes, there. When it comes to taxes, you have a tax almost on everything. You would say.
So there's no like particular, like how you said, federal, state. There's no food and product. There's no different.
Well, let me see. There's tax on income. So anytime you have an economic gain.
Okay.
There's a tax on that. Then there's a tax on goods sold to consumers or commerce.
Okay.
Right? So that's pretty much the two taxes that we pay. And under those two headings, you have a bunch of different taxes, right? Like when we talk about tax on commerce, there's, tariffs, in trade taxes and things that, we pay with taxes coming from overseas. Then there's sales tax, there's use tax, excise tax. I mean, so yeah, like we see a lot of excise tax when we pay for gas. If you ever look at a gas station, the base price should be something else, but there's like 5 other taxes that's added to that gives us the price that we pay.
Now, why is gas so high? Is it because we have to get it from the earth and somehow transport it? And because it seems like obviously California, is it? I mean, that's going past taxes. But what's the whole
supply and demand?
Okay.
That's really the only reason we pay so much in gas is because we are consumers of it.
Right. Wow.
Think about it. Our average gas price right now in California, as of this video recording, is like $5. That's high.
Very much. And I've seen other states be like $3.99 or something.
But we continue to use it, and they will continue to raise the price up on us.
Wow. So what's because when I hear taxes, I just get sick to my stomach.
That's 90% of us in America, yeah.
But why? Why do I even have a feeling like? Because right now, after talking about it, it's what we need. Like if we didn't have taxes, like.
I mean, again, proud of you because that's the biggest thing. We have a problem with taxes because one, we wasn't taught, so therefore we don't have an understanding.
Okay.
I try to tell at least my clients, taxes to me is like paying your cell phone bill. So you go into the phone, you go into your carrier, and you simply say, you know what, I want this phone. This is the plan I want. They say, okay, here's your monthly price. We cool. But when it comes to taxes, we say, okay, this is how much you make. How much do you want us to take? And we be like, we really don't want you to take nothing.
Right.
Like, don't. So we don't understand its purpose. So we don't sit up here and say, okay, we don't plan for it. Right. If we sit up here and say, yeah, I know I have to have taxes taken out, let me say take this amount out, then we good. Because if we think about, truthfully speaking, the goal of the IRS is to have you pay only what you owe and nothing more. People get excited about refunds.
That was my next question. Go ahead.
And I don't get why. I mean, I do.
That's your money. That's your money. Even I know that's my money. I'm not getting excited. Now I'm mad because you owe me money.
Right.
Now, why are you getting, forget refund. Give it back. It's
don't
not a refund
that.
anymore. It's a give back because
that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
It's an accident, so I'm sorry. Here you go.
That's exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is.
Man,
wow.
That's your money.
But people don't get that. People do not understand that. People don't get that. They look at a refund as it's a wonderful thing. Like, oh my God, I got free money from the government. And I'm like, it is. It's not. It's not. But don't get me wrong, right? Let me just, in the spirit of transparency, there are certain individuals that can get free money, right? Like there's, especially when you have children involved. young children under the age of 17, right? There's certain credits that will result in a refund, whether you had income or not, whether you was eligible for whatever. Okay. There's the earned income credit and the child tax credit. Those are the two biggest ones that people get money. That's why people get like $10,000 refunds, because they have multiple children that qualify them for this credits. But I ain't trying to put nobody on blast, but I'm going to say this. If you're getting that large of a refund, you're not making that much money.
Right.
Because the only way you qualify for those type of refunds, you have to be making under a certain amount of money. There's something called the federal poverty level, where our federal government has laid out if your income falls under this amount, they consider you to be impoverished.
Okay.
And because of that, they try to give money to help the economy.
Right.
And really, it ain't for them, because what do people do when they get their refund?
Spend it.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So people at that point, when they get the refund, it's to stimulate the economy, because they're going to take that money and go spend it
on something
with these major corporations.
Right.
So it's giving the big boys money.
Right. Now, speaking of credit, because I heard people say that, oh, my mom, got a credit card in my name when I was 8 and 6. I can't relate. Y'all be safe. But what that got to do with anything? Like, are they somehow? Because they say, okay, my parents got me a credit card in my name when I was 8. Now I'm 18, trying to use a credit card. My credit is jacked up. Isn't that some type of like fraud or something? How you messed up my life and I haven't even had the time to enjoy it yet? Like, I've heard that so many times. Like, oh yeah, now it's time to get a credit card. Credit is horrible.
So the credit, something different than taxes.
Okay.
Right. Something absolutely different. But what happens is a lot of people in certain circumstances, situations, their parents messed up their own credit, but they still needed credit because they failed to be fiscally responsible, right? Does it say that? So if I mess up my credit, but I know I still need credit because I don't know how to manage my money, well, I got a kid there.
Right.
They got a whole brand new, ain't nothing reported bad on them, so I'm going to use them. But the problem is the same mentality. If I messed up mine, I'm going to mess up yours.
Obviously, yeah.
Right? So that's what happens a lot of time. And it is fraud. Okay. Right, because you're not supposed to use somebody else's information to do that, so it is fraud. And hopefully, if that situation's happened, there's a lot of programs out there. You can get your credit report for free, and I encourage everybody to get their credit report, at least if you're over the age of 16, because that's when I think you can actually have an actual credit card. So you can go to annualfreecreditreport.com. It's free once a year. It doesn't impact your credit score, and it gives you a list of all 3 credit bureaus and what they have, your history, your accounts is open in your name, everything.
Right.
And if there's anything on there that you don't recognize or that you don't agree with, dispute it.
Okay.
And they have to remove it if it comes back not you.
Okay. And I know credit's a little bit on the side of taxes, but I've been hearing a lot about credit too. And me just now buying my first car, hold on, where the keys at? I had to understand a little bit about credit. And me, I don't own nothing besides this car. I didn't have credit. I had to, build credit, so I had to get a cosigner. But what is the trickiness of building credit, and why do people fall into certain holes to get messed up when they're trying to build credit?
Well, I mean, there is no real trick to credit. Credit is just a discipline thing, right? You do want to understand how credit works, and the credit is like an adult report card. Your credit really says your credibility, right? Like, can I trust you? Okay. If I give you X amount of dollars, are you responsible enough to pay it back? And there's a network of banks that say, hey, we gave Ashlyn 10 grand. She paid it back on time. She's credit worthy. So if she come ask you, give it to her.
Right.
Or it's the opposite. Like, hey, we gave Ashlyn 10 grand and she left us holding the bag.
Right.
So if she come asking you, I wouldn't trust her.
Right.
But that's how it pretty much works in a nutshell. Now, of course, there's a lot of other things that fall under that. Your history, how many lines you have open, your utilization score, right? Because that can count against you. Say if you have a $10,000 credit limit, but you add $9,000. Well, you've utilized more than 30% of that credit, so you high risk.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Versus if you had $10,000 and you only used $1,000, now you're under 10%. So now you good. Your risk is low. So you know those are those things that these credit card companies consider. I mean, but then there's a game to credit card, right? Like you want to make sure that you get the credit cards that offer reward points, because if you happen to use up enough reward points, you then could get free stuff.
Right. Now, what about different people? Like, cause I use Klarna and Quad Pay. They're basically apps where I want these shoes or I want this purse, $500. I only got $200 right now. I'm gonna pay. They're gonna split that $500 in fours, right? So I'm gonna pay this little right now. 2 weeks I'm gonna pay another. 4 weeks I'm paying another. 6 weeks I'm paying another. They don't ask for my social security or anything like that. They just ask for my name, number, and address. Is that somehow anyway gonna come back to me in my credit? Because that it's sounding like credit, but they don't ask for my social security or nothing to really get me if I don't pay for it.
No, if they don't ask for your social security number, they're not reporting to any of the credit bureaus.
Wow.
Yeah, anything. So we report because everything is under your social security number. If they don't get that social security number, it is not being reported to the credit bureau, so it's not helping your credit. But at the same time, if you failed to pay, it wouldn't be hurting your credit.
Right. Okay. That's all that I have for credit, because credit and taxes it just screams headache. I don't know why, but now making sure I pay for my car note every single month, I know that's somehow building my credit, and I know other people who they don't have any possessions, so I don't know how they're building their credit, but I do see people who's always checking their credit score and like, oh yeah, last month was a little bit lower, I'm getting better, but I'm like, how did you build your credit if you don't have no properties? What do you put in your Is there any way to build credit? Obviously not, if you don't have no properties.
No, property ain't the only way to build credit. Again, you want to be credit worthy, right?
Okay.
So you can get a credit card.
Okay.
Yeah, through credit card, you can get through accounts like Target or your favorite store where you can go build up credit accounts with them. Anything where somebody's going to give you something without you having to pay up front, that reports to a credit bureau. So you can even ask, like, do you report on my credit? If they say yeah, then you want to apply for it. Right. But then, again, you have to manage that, because that's where the discipline comes in, at being able to manage it and be like, okay, they just gave me 40 racks on a card. Let me go spend 40 racks right now. No, you know what I'm saying? No, you got to be able to manage that and be like, nah, I'm going to be disciplined. I'm only going to use it when I need it, pay it back within 30 days, and be good. I mean, of course, there's some other advanced tactics we can get into where you can make money off that.
Right.
But, we'll say that for another video.
Right. Of course. So taxes, I think I'm pretty good with the taxes. But what if my parents was just not responsible paying their taxes, right? Why, like you said, I feel we need taxes. I feel like it's obviously a good foundation. But why is there, it seems like the rich, but why are there so many people who refuse to pay taxes, or who scam so much, or who's trying to fraudulent different, like, what is, just so you don't have to pay out of pocket? Like, aren't they going to come at you some other way somehow? Like, what is the point of even trying to, like, it's the feds. Like, what is the point of even trying to, like, hide and, like, scheme when they're going to, I mean, I don't want the IRS knocking on my door. Why don't you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why?
I mean, but let's be honest. We live in a world where not everybody's responsible, I guess, for lack of a better word. We live in a world where everybody's trying to always get over.
Right.
People get greedy. I want all my money. I don't want none going here. I don't want none going there again, because they don't understand what taxes is. They don't know how it works. They simply like, But if we can understand that it is what it is, we good. We good. I mean, people will try to scam taxes because they haven't been, this is what I call fake ballers. Like, people will go exempt so they can afford to live a certain lifestyle.
And what's exempt?
Like when you pay zero federal taxes.
And why would I do that?
Again, people do that so they can afford to live these baller lifestyles.
But I got to pay, like, at the end of the year, right? No?
But that's my point.
Oh, okay.
You are responsible for paying it at the end. You're gonna pay it either throughout the year, which is what your why they take it out every time you go, because it's a pay-as-you-go system.
Right.
But if you default on that pay-as-you-go system, you'll have a tax bill at the end of the year.
Okay.
And that's where people lie and be like, okay, I'm going to go exempt throughout the year. I know I'm going to owe at the end of the year, but I'm going to make up a lie so I don't have to owe at the end of the year.
Okay.
And that's where the illegalness come in, because that's tax evasion, which is illegal.
And that's where the IRS come in?
Yeah, that's when now if they find out, then that's where they say, okay, no, you lied. You now owe us this amount of money. If you don't pay us, then we're going to start collecting from your paycheck. We're going to come seize your assets. We're going to take whatever you got.
Now, does that equal to people being not foreclosed, but like, you know, celebrities who basically got
when they
no
get
money.
liens,
What's that?
yeah.
What is it called?
Bankruptcy. Well,
bankrupt. There it is. Bankrupt.
It can be a form of bankruptcy, because when you go bankrupt, that means you have nothing.
Nothing. Right.
You have nothing that nobody can take from you.
Okay.
Yeah, so then
Nothing
the
besides
IRS
your
can
drawers
cause
and your
that.
pants.
Yes.
Okay.
And that is something that the IRS can cause.
Right.
So just do it right. Plan for it. I would say, talk to somebody in taxes. If you haven't filed taxes before, talk to somebody so they can see what based on your income, where they can be like, okay, based on your income, this is the estimated amount of taxes you're going to owe, and this is how you should set your paycheck up to pay it throughout the year.
Okay.
That's the kind of conversations you have. Like, look, this is how much I plan on making.
Right.
How much taxes am I estimated to owe?
Right.
And be like, okay, what do I need to do to ensure that throughout the year I'm paying towards that balance, so when I file my taxes, I don't owe them, they don't owe me.
Right, yeah. It's better for them, for both. You don't want them to owe you, and you don't want to owe them. But, okay, now I know some people, like some of my peers, their parents don't speak English. So they do a lot of their government paperwork themselves. Just the top 3 things that we need to know to also help our parents, because they probably messed up their credit or their government paperwork, because obviously, they don't speak English. So let's just say my parents don't speak English. I'm 17. I'm about to turn 18 this year. What do I need to look out for? What do I need to do? What is the first steps to make sure that I'm good and my parents don't try to do nothing? Like, I'm about to be 18. I need to get my stuff together. Do I need to go on a website, check out my credit first? Do I need to know, my W-2 is at? Like, if I didn't have an amazing uncle who do taxes, what do I do?
So, to answer that question, one thing to do, and again, I feel, not to say that your parents are trying to do you wrong, but in that scenario, if you're working, you definitely want to check your credit report.
Okay.
Right? Because that's going to give you what's being reported to these credit bureaus under your Social Security number.
Right.
Right? Then if you're working, again, you want to have a conversation with a tax professional. Be like, I'm now working. This is how much I'm earning. How much am I going to pay in taxes?
Right.
Right? So that way you can plan for that. Okay? Then, honestly, it's time to have that conversation with your parents. Because if you're 18, it's possible they still can claim you as a dependent, depending on the circumstances.
Right.
Find out if they are claiming you as a dependent. Because if they are, you still can file taxes, right? Like, you still can file, and maybe if you overpaid, you'll get your refund back. So you still can do that. But just find out if they are, because if they aren't, then, you filed your own independent. And then outside of that is really just monitoring. What's going to be the key thing is monitoring your credit report, because that is what people are going to judge you on when you go out there and you try to be adulting, right? When you try to get an apartment, you try to get a car, you're trying to do, get investments. Maybe you want to start investing and building up your portfolio.
Right.
Your credit history is what's going to help you out. So that's going to be the most important thing for you to monitor.
Okay.
You sign up with Credit Karma. They got all these credit apps out there that once you sign up, they'll help you monitor, track, create a separate email for your credit card alerts, right? So if somebody do something and you like, I don't recognize that, call, dispute, protect your credit, protect your financial history. That is going to be your thing. Your financial credibility, that's who you are in the world.
So this is why kids or young adults be 18 years old and their parents still got a Social Security card tucked up somewhere that they don't even know what a Social Security card look like, because if you get lost, someone get that card number.
Absolutely.
They got you. It's you.
Absolutely.
And if you got good credit, now what if someone just wanted to be AP so bad and took my Social Security? Like, I can't be like, that's not me. Like, I can. Is there a longer process to do that, or what is the whole?
You can
Social
absolutely
Security card?
dispute
Like,
it.
hold it with your life.
Well, I mean, because your Social Security card is somebody, because there's identity theft. Somebody can be AP because they want to be you so bad. They can actually go out, take your Social Security, live a whole new life, live a good life, you know,
But
possibly.
how? Like, so there's, like, how? Okay, so they have my Social Security, right? They gonna open a new bank account, got a new car, yada, yada, yada. I still got my car. I still got my bank account. So they gonna think I just open more bank accounts? Like,
yeah.
and then when I'm like, wait, that's not me. I don't even like Wells Fargo like that. Like, I'm with California Credit Union. That's not me. What they gonna do? Like,
there's forms of dispute. You can always dispute it. Of course, it's gonna be a process because
of course
everybody wants to make sure that somebody's not running a scam. Right. So this is gonna be a process, but you can't dispute it. You can actually go in and protect your credit. Like, you can put certain. You can contact the credit bureaus, Experience, TransUnion, and I forget the other one, but you can contact them and put locks on your credit. So can't nobody open up nothing without your permission.
Okay.
You know, so that may be something you want to do. Just note that if you're getting ready to do something financial, you want to remove those restrictions probably within enough time. But yeah, you can do that.
So let's say nobody, people in my age group don't watch this video. And they're like, credits, that's for old people. Or tax income, that's for old people. Like, I'm only working at JCPenney's or McDonald's. And I'm not worrying about nothing. I'm just chilling, living my life, buying my whatever. How is the state or federal, whoever, going to say, hold on, girl, we need our money? Or, how? Like, okay, because my first question when I asked you, I said, if I didn't have an amazing uncle, do I have to go somewhere and file this paperwork and say this is how much I'm making? Or can I just live my life and someone be like, uh-oh, Miss Girl, we need your paperwork. And I'm like, oh, okay, my bad, I didn't know. Give it to you. Or that's when the IRS come. Or when do I get that final, oh, girl, you're slipping? It's been 3 years. Or there's been, from the time that you worked at McDonald's from 15 and now you're 18 working at JCPenney's. You ain't paid nothing. You ain't put nothing on nothing. How do I know, or how do I get a warning like, oh, girl, you messed up?
They'll let you know.
But what's the form? Is it not just straight IRS knocking on my door? Or
no.
That's what I need to know. Like, what is the steps that we need to look out for if they don't watch this video? They don't know. Parents don't know nothing about no taxes, no credit, no. What if I came from a dad who in and out of prison, strictly cash, no nothing. Just strictly. I ain't never seen that man with a car, strictly cash. How does that? Okay, now I want to be a businesswoman. I don't want to be, thumbing through ones all day. I don't want to have. So how do I change that lifestyle? How do I, now I'm a woman. I can do my own things. How do I? If he did mess me up, how do I, make sure I'm on top of my stuff? Because I don't want to be like my dad. I want to be, a businesswoman.
Right. So, well, first, if you don't, let me see if I can say this. If you have the type of income that's being reported to these government agencies, these taxing agencies, they know. And they expect you to file a return every year, because a tax filing is simply a reconciliation. The IRS is going to say, hey, we noticed or we received that you made X amount of dollars. The tax return should say you made X amount of dollars. They should match. If there is a mismatch, that's when the IRS is going to be like, all right, well, we received that you made $10,000. You reported $5,000. Where's the other $5,000?
Right.
They're going to just send you a notification.
Okay.
Right? It's a letter in the mail.
Okay.
And sometimes a letter in the mail doesn't mean you're in trouble. It's just saying, hey, there's a mismatch. Let us know what happened.
Right. Just look out for it.
Yeah, exactly. That's really a lot of 90% of the letters you get from the IRS says that something isn't right.
Speaking of an IRS letter, I got something in the mail, right? This was adult one-on-one blonde moment. Okay. I got a letter in the mail. I don't know if it's an IRS or something. Somebody with the higher ups. Okay. And they said, your balance is like $52. I was like, oh, I give $52. My dad was like, oh, no, you paid $52. Okay, balance. Do I have to log in somewhere to like pay it back, or like because I still owe $52 at this moment? So what am I supposed to do? Like, am I supposed to call somebody? Am I supposed to email somebody? Do they automatically take it out? Like,
No, well, fortunately and unfortunately, our taxing agencies are still old school, so you can send them a check, money order in the mail. Normally, times they send you a balance due notice. There's an envelope where you can send it back to them.
Okay.
Or there are some where you can go online and like through third-party vendors.
Okay.
That they're authorized. You can make a payment online, but then they charge you more because there's a convenience fee.
Right.
Yeah.
So I gotta give them a check, pretty much.
Well, it's free. It's cheaper that way.
Right.
It's cheaper to write a check. Yeah.
But why did it's just $50? Why do I have to owe them $50? What could have possibly happened? Because I do know certain months, like, you know, once I pass probation, I get like $2 extra on my paycheck.
Okay.
So is that somehow changed why now I owe money?
Yeah, because maybe you didn't account for that additional income when you was filling out the withholding paperwork.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we got to, like I said, we got to make sure we account for everything because we don't want to owe them. We don't want them more than us.
That's another thing about owing or the certain percentage, because I forgot what the box was, but my dad was looking over it, and I think I put like 0 or something. He was like, "You're going to be owing a lot of money at the end of the year. Change that right now. Change that right now." So I changed it, but I'm like, so again, at the end of the year, I don't care, but it's like, what was that percentage? Why is it?
Because 0 is like claiming exempt. That's what and that's like a no.
Right.
You don't want to go exempt.
And ever since then, my check has been like $400 shorter. Since that moment, like, why? No.
Yeah, but it's just like paying your car note, just like paying your bill. You pay that amount every month, then at the end of the year, you have balance. Like, think about if you didn't pay your car note for a whole year. How much would come December and the car comes like, hey, you owe us some money.
Right.
But that's going to be a large amount because you haven't paid it.
Yeah.
It's the same with taxes. If you don't pay it throughout the year, it's going to be large at the end of the year. Right? So that's why it's set up as a pay-as-you-go system to avoid that.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds about right. Let's
Great
see.
questions, though. Off the chain.
Let me see. Different types of income that will be taxed. I don't know if we kind of went over that, but
I think we talked about that in the beginning, right? We had the W-2 income.
Right. Okay.
If you have a bank account that pays interest, right, that's taxable. If you pull money out of a 401k before you reach retirement age, that's taxable.
Okay.
Your side hustle businesses is taxable. Like I know a lot of people are on social media just doing different things, but anytime you have any kind of gain financially, you're supposed to pay tax on it. Period.
Now, when it comes to taxes, what is state obligation? Is that what we pay for the roads or is that like the state taxes?
Well, state taxes definitely, like that pays for our infrastructure, right? When we pay taxes to the state of California, that's what paid our local fire department, police department, our schools, our union. That taxes goes for that.
Okay.
State. Federal pays on a much broader scale, right? Our military, our government, our federally funded programs, those taxes go towards that.
Okay. And my last and final question. I think we kind of went over it. It's a little bit, but why, even though you said it is our money, why do we get tax refunds? Like, why? Is it just a mistake? Is it paperwork changed and it took too long, so now here's your money back? Like, why? That's
absolutely right? A lot of times we get a refund because we overpaid. We didn't sit down. We didn't have a conversation. We just assumed, like, all right, I'm going to have X amount of dollars withheld from each check.
Right.
Well, that's too much. So now you gave the government more money than you should have, and at the end of the year, they'd be like, okay, here, thank you.
But
they just give it back. That's pretty much what it is. But throughout the year, I guarantee you that they've used that money to make money.
Of course.
And you get no interest on that.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, so it's like I personally don't like refunds. I'd rather keep my money throughout the year, do my own investments, increase my own wealth.
Right.
Then, so that part.
Okay. Now, I'm kind of confusing with taxes and credit, and this is probably going to be my last question. But just being an adult, I don't know if you can simplify it, the difference between or the importance of credit, taxes, and why we want to make sure we do our part. And is taxes and income taxes two different things, or that's a different category? Because you was saying, federal taxes, the state taxes, then you got Medicare, then you got the taxes, the sales tax. Is that all different purposes, different benefits? Me as a young adult who don't know anything about financials, what do I need to make sure I'm on top of every single year, no matter if I'm working at McDonald's, if I'm working at Ulta, if I'm working at government agency? What do I need to know every year? Is it a certain age I need to start looking at my credit? Because I'm finna be 20, so obviously credit, forget that. Does it have to do with age, or have to do with strictly how much money you make?
A little bit of both, but the winner is going to be how much money you make.
Okay.
Right. So that determines everything. That determines how much credit you should have. That determines how much income tax you should pay. It's based on how much money you make. Because if you don't make no money, you shouldn't have a credit card, because credit card isn't free money.
Right.
Because if you use it, you have to pay it back.
Somehow.
And if you fail to pay it back, then there goes that downward spiral. Nobody's going to trust you. Nobody's going to give you credit. You're not going to have access to capital. You're going to be in poverty much longer than you want to be. Right. So if you don't have money, you don't have a credit card. Also, if you don't have money, you can't pay tax. There's nothing to tax, so you don't have it. So it all starts with money.
Right.
So when you get the money, manage it. Have a plan for it. Like if you want to, what should I do as an adult? Have a plan for your money.
Right.
If you don't have a plan for your money, I'm just going to make it, I'm going to go spend it, then you're going to always be broke.
Right.
Right? Because people think, oh, look at me, I got money because I have this. And I tell my kids, like, if you say, oh, this person got money because look at, they got those Balenciagas, I say, no, they don't have money because they spent them on those Balenciagas. That $700 that they had is now gone.
Right. There's
because
no way
if they
making
sell
that
it,
money. Right.
You ain't gonna make your $700 back.
Right.
So now you just went negative.
Yeah.
I say, if you think about people with money, don't look like they have money.
Of course not. You see Jay-Z? That man don't have a care in the world. What's that other actor who's on Grown Ups? Is it Adam Sandler? Whoever. That man looking like homeless, up and down.
Absolutely.
Yeah. People who got real money. They ain't gonna be just like they got no money.
Exactly. So, have a plan for your spending, right? Know what you want. Have a goal. That's going to be the most important thing, because if you don't have a goal, you have nothing to aim for. You have nothing to plan for. So if 20 years down the line, I want to be a homeowner. I want to be financially secure. I want to have investments. Well, make sure you start saying, okay, I need X amount of dollars. I know I'm going to need credit. Let me start slowly paying this. And when you get a credit card, you can hook your cell phone bill to it, because you're going to pay it monthly anyway.
Right.
Just have it go to the credit card, and then you pay the credit card back.
Or subscription, like YouTube subscription.
Right. If you paying it through your debit card, connected to your credit card, and just pay your credit cards, now you're building history.
Right.
Now you're building credibility, right, for things that you pay normally anyway.
Right. Building credit.
Yeah.
Okay. So, even though we're talking about taxes, to build credit, the easiest thing you can probably do is get your little credit card.
Absolutely.
But is it little credit card with low, what is it, HPR or something like
APR.
that? APR. What's
APR, your annual percentage rate.
Okay. And why do I need to look at
nothing
that?
is free.
Right.
Nothing is free. Like if I'm going to extend you a line of credit for $10,000, I'm gonna charge you for that.
Of course.
And there are certain percentages, right? You can APRs be high, like in 29%. And again, that's for $10,000. 30% of that is going to be a fee based on APR. So you want to look for something that has a low APR. Some people will give you zero APR the first year or something like that, because that's the incentive, but nothing is free.
Right.
If you use it, you paying for it.
Right.
That's what I say, have a plan for it.
Have a plan for it.
Have a plan for it.
So like I said, for credit, if you 16, 17, when can you even have a credit card? 17 or 16?
16.
16.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if I'm 16 working at JCPenney's, I'm going to be paying taxes somehow. Or if my parents are still claiming me, they got to worry about that. And I just
It's both. Right, because even though your parents claim you still can file what's called a dependent tax return.
I don't want to, though. So do
But you might.
I'm saying if I didn't and like I was, I'm still working wherever I'm working and my parents are still claiming me, do I still get all my money or there's still taxes being taken out of my paycheck though?
If there's taxes taken out of your paycheck, right, and you file a dependent tax return. But again, even as a dependent tax return, meaning that you're being claimed on your parents' income tax, it's still possible for you to get a refund, or it's still possible for you to owe.
Okay.
Depending on how much you made as a dependent.
Now, with this whole stimulus thing that was going on a couple, months ago, did that have to do anything with taxes or, I got this free money. I got this little stimulus check. Did they take taxes out of that or
No.
am I somehow going to?
That was
A gift.
Yeah, a gift.
So I ain't going to have to pay for it later in life at all?
No.
Okay.
No. That was.
That's the only free money besides FAFSA is what we're going to get.
Right.
Or any other scholarship they all
Exactly.
attain.
Exactly.
Okay. Now for the youngins, for the credit, because I know I was saying a little bit about it, I would probably ask him, but I would say get your little credit card.
Absolutely.
And either if you got your little Apple Music, Amazon, whatever little subscription that's like $5.99 a month, just pay that off and then build you a little bit of credit. It's not as fast as I heard, as fast if you was to, buy a car or buy, other property. But you want to start somewhere. And if you're 16, 17, start somewhere small.
Absolutely.
Then when you, get your car, you got a little sum you could talk about. If not, get a cosign or whatever. But that would be a whole different video for another time.
Yeah, we'll come back for that one for sure.
Right. I think we established pretty much all the gunning questions that a young adult needs to know for taxes. I think I'm pretty. I think I agree. I agree with taxes. We need taxes. We didn't have taxes. How would anything really work? Like, that's how Karens obviously, develop with the whole taxes thing. But yeah, I think
that's
taxes is good. I think I'm have a clear understanding of why we have taxes. Now, is America the only people who owe taxes?
Oh no, other countries, Europe. Taxes is worldwide things.
Is it like a different? Is it not as aggressive? Is it different? Like,
there's
do they
different.
not have Medicare? Do they not have Social Security? Is it more?
Yeah, there are certain places like Canada. You won't pay for Medicare because healthcare is free in Canada. Europe is probably higher than the U.S. There's Russia's made taxes a little different, but taxes is a worldwide event.
Right.
Yeah, taxes are a worldwide event, and regardless. If you are an American citizen, regardless of where you are in the world, you still have to pay taxes. So you can be an American citizen, go to Japan, make money, you have to pay taxes to America on the money made in Japan.
Wow.
Can't escape it.
No, because I'm a citizen here.
Right.
Now, what if I just moved to Japan for about 3 years?
You would have to denounce your citizenship.
And I come back and get another citizenship?
Go through that process of becoming a citizen.
What about just for a year? I still got to de-own my citizenship?
No, yeah, you still got to. But if you're really trying to avoid, you may look into Puerto Rico. Little hint, but that's for a different conversation.
That's an extra subscription.
Yeah.
You gonna have to pay for that one.
Absolutely.
That is so funny.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think that's about it.
Cool.
That's all the tax questions I have.
I'm glad to be here.
Okay. You gonna do the outro or what?
You do the outro.
Okay, y'all. That is all my questions. Thank you so much from the self-employed. Do you hear that?
Yeah, self-employed. Absolutely.
Okay. Tax guy. Okay. So thank you again. Wherever you see this video posted, make sure you share with your friends and family and alike. And any questions, drop them down. Because I'm quite sure you're still just a little bit confused about taxes. But it's okay. We're here, I'll ask questions for you. I'll be the dummy. You'll be the expert. It's okay. Alrighty. We'll see y'all next time whenever.
So what do the young folks say when they leave? Do they still say peace? Do we say peace now? No, what do we do?
Nah, just bye.
Bye. Call it that.
That was fun. All I posted was a microphone and go,
Power social media. Power social media. Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm making a hit. right
We
now.
in the studio making it do what it do, baby.
That is so funny.
Oh man. No, what was we saying?
Oh my gosh.
Perfect.